video. For those who have subscribed to my channel, liked my videos, shared my videos, I just want to thank you. I greatly appreciate you. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, like my videos, as well as share the videos. I hope that you have been blessed as I have been blessed thus far. As you all know, we are in Job, and I love the book of Job. It's just one of my favorite books in the Bible. And today we will be in Job chapter 5, Job chapter 6, and Job chapter 7. Let's just get right on into it. So in Job chapter 5, it's pretty much Elpihaz talking to Job, and he's telling Job that, hey, you have had to do something in order for your trouble to be so great on you. And the thing is, Elpihaz is thinking that, hey, Job has had to sin. He has had to do something that's just so vigorous that this is why. Just because you did this, this is why this is happening to you. And in verse number, let's see, Job chapter 5, we're going to read verse number 3 and verse number 8. And then I will continue to explain Job chapter 5. So here we go. Job chapter 5, verse 3. Elpihaz says, I have seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I cursed his dwelling place. And in Job chapter 5, verse 8, it says, but as for me, I will seek God, and to God I will commit my cause. So what Elpihaz is saying in verse 3, he's saying that, hey, I've been here before. This has happened to me, and this is what I had to do. And then in verse number 8, he explains that, hey, commit your cause, commit your sins to God, and then you will be okay. You know, great things will begin to come upon you, and your sins will be forgiven, and all of this will go away. But as we know, if you have seen my previous videos and has read Job chapter 1 through 4 for yourself, we know that Job did not do anything. So here we have Elpihaz. I would say Elpihaz is judging Job, thinking that, hey, you did this, so this is what you have to do, besides sitting down with Job for comfort and saying, hey, Job, what's going on? How could I help you? Talk to me. No. Elpihaz is just pointing out, hey, because you did this, this is what's happened. Look, it has happened to me. And you know, honestly, I think we have some of our friends that it's like that in our lives, you know. Or we seem to be down and out, and we have those friends that say, hey, no, this happened to me, and this is what you need to do, and this, that, and the other. And sometimes, clearly, that's just not the case. Your situation is not my situation. Sometimes all I need you to do is be there for me and give me comfort, you know. And as we have seen in Job chapter 1, Job's trouble wasn't on him because he did something bad. It wasn't to destroy Job. It was honestly something that God had announced over his life to the enemy. He told Satan that, hey, my servant Job is righteous. You can do anything to him, but you can't take his life. And clearly, Satan is like, hey, when I do this to Job, he's going to curse you, and that's just going to be the end of it. Job is not going to like you anymore. But clearly that wasn't the case. So now Job is living out his life to be a witness to what God had already announced over his life. And for us, sometimes when we're going through things, we cannot sit around and question God and be upset at the situation. Sometimes we have to understand that, hey, God, I know that you are in control. God, I will trust you, and everything is going to be okay. And be the witness that God has called you to be. Be the very thing that God has already announced over your life. You must walk in victory, knowing that God is already there. He already sees your situation. God is taking care of it. Sometimes we want God to be a right now God, but sometimes God has to say, hey, you must trust the process, you know. And for Job's friends, to me, Job didn't really have any friends that was actually there for him. Even his wife told him, I think it was Job chapter 4, he told Job, hey, why don't you just curse God and die? So now Job has lost everything, and then he has his wife and his 3 friends who are pretty much telling him, hey, Elpihaz, you must have done something to sin against God, because this Trouble doesn't happen to people like you. Then you have his wife telling him to curse God and die. And I'm like, wow, who's there to comfort Job? You know? So here we have in Job chapter 6, Job begins to talk. And he begins to describe Eliphaz's words to him. And we will be reading Job chapter 6, verse 6 and verse 21. And here I go. Job chapter 6, verse 6 says, "Can flavorless food be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the white of an egg?" So we have verse 21. Here we go. "For now you are nothing. You see terror and you are afraid." So in verse 6, Job is talking about how Eliphaz's words fell to him, describing it as flavorless food. Pretty much, Eliphaz has good intentions, but the way that he, his analysis over Job's life is just completely wrong. And Job has, remember, it was 3 friends who actually came to sit with Job. So Eliphaz was the first one to talk, and then the other 2 apparently are sitting there in silence. So now in Job chapter 6, verse 21, Job is saying that, hey, I feel like my friends are silent, so they must actually agree with what Eliphaz is saying. And now that you guys see trouble, it's like you guys are afraid. Job is actually seeking comfort from his friends, as I've said previously, but that's not what they're giving him. And in Job chapter 7, we have Job explaining his condition. We have him speaking of his physical condition. He's speaking of how he cannot sleep, and he's perplexed at this point. Job doesn't know which way to go or what to do. He's confused because he's like, hey, what have I done to actually have this trouble so greatly come upon me? So in Job chapter 7, we will read verse 4, verse 5, and verse 20. So Job chapter 7, verse 4 says, "When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise, and the night be ended? For I have had my fill of tossing till dawn." Verse 5, "My flesh is caked with worms and dust. My skin is cracked and breaks out afresh." So in Job chapter 7, verse 5, he explains his condition, which is the sores that was placed all over his body. In verse 4, he speaks about how he can't sleep. And then we have in verse 20, this is where he's perplexed as, hey, what have I done to experience this sin so greatly upon me? This trouble so greatly upon me. So it says, Job chapter 7, verse 20 says, "Have I sinned? What have I done to you, O watcher of men?" So we all know that Job didn't do anything. And as I've stated before, Job, God has already said that, hey, my servant Job is righteous. Job, whatever you want to do, Satan, you can do to him, but you cannot take his life. And even though that we're dealing with certain things right now in our lives, we may be perplexed like Job. We may not be able to sleep at night. Some of our physical conditions are getting worse, but we must understand that God is still in control, and trouble don't last always. You know, God is still looking down on you, and he's watching everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying. God is there with you every step of the way. His word says that he will never leave you nor forsake you. And once we dive into Job a little more deeper, all of this will start making sense as to what's going on in Job's life. I hope that you guys have been blessed by these videos. I cannot wait to go deeper and dive deeper in Job. Please be safe. Just know that trouble don't last always. I know that we are in times right now where people don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They're just stuck. Some people say they're at the end of the road, but clearly you're just at a stop sign. You know, God hasn't forgotten about you, and God is there with you every step of the way. Be encouraged. Continue to pray. Continue to love one another and be there for your friends. Sometimes all people need is comfort. We think that we're there for them and we're judging them and we're saying, hey, well, because this happened to you, this is what's going to happen. No, sometimes somebody just needs you to be there for comfort. Hear them out. See what they have to say. Don't judge anyone without knowing their story. Honestly, don't judge anyone at all. Just be there for them. Hear their story. And just love on your neighbors. So have a great week, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.